Okay, today I want to talk to you about diversification. When I was a kid growing up in Yorkshire, farmers were farmers. They had cows, they had sheep, they made hay. Didn't grow many crops in Yorkshire where I was, but that was pretty much their business model. And then times got tougher for those farmers, and farmers started to diversify. Their wives opened cafes, not to be sexist, but that's what happened in the 80s. Their wives opened cafes. They started running farmers' shops where they were selling some of their own produce, but they were also started to sell produce for other people. They converted some of their unused buildings on their land into holiday lets. They converted them into business premises for rental. They did all kinds of things. Some of them rented their farm vehicles for weddings. I saw that. They started to diversify because they needed to. Okay, they needed to look at other revenue streams in order to prop up the business that wasn't working entirely to support itself. And in healthcare, we are reaching a position, and I think, where many healthcare practices need something more. Now, it might not be financially that you need something more. It might be more from a personal fulfillment, from a challenge perspective. But we're at a position where I'm seeing lots of practitioners now who need something more from their business. And so people are starting to talk about diversification in healthcare practices. So I just wanted to quickly do a blog about that subject, just to help you maybe flag up some things that you might need to have conversations around, things that you might need to start thinking through. So that's what this session is all about. So there are lots and lots of different ways that you can diversify your practice, generating new revenue streams and generating more interest for you as the person doing the doing. So I want to go, first of all, I'm going to go through some of the ways you can diversify. And then I just want to quickly go through some of the pros and cons of diversification, just so that we've covered lots of different bases. So hopefully there's something for everybody in this video and blog post. Okay, so physical products, that is one way you can start to diversify. Are there physical products relating to your patients that you can sell? Now, very recently, we've started to see in podiatry, yes, for years, people have sold creams and potions and lotions and those kind of very clinical things. We're starting to see now where people are selling footwear. We're starting to see people who are starting to sell associated products. So where we've got practices that are specializing in treating runners and sports people, we're looking at trainers, we're looking at sports paraphernalia. And so there's a definite market there for making life easier for your patients. So if you can become a one-stop shop, if your dream patient, and always keep your dream patient in mind, don't just randomly add products to your practice. Think about your dream patient. What would make their life easier if they could literally come for their appointment, buy the stuff, go away, do the doing? Okay. So start to think about physical products that you can sell in-house. Now, of course, there are some pitfalls to that, but this is one way you can start to diversify your revenue streams in your practice, by selling physical products. So you can do that in-house by, as I say, providing this better experience for your patients. You can do it via dropship. So you can create a shop on your website where you don't actually stock the products. You use a third-party supplier, and you process the invoices and the payments and the orders. You then transfer those orders across to a third-party provider, and they then do the shipping for you, hence drop shipping. And on the same vein, you can also sell products via Amazon, so that you can become a seller of products that you don't actually stock, but you then get access to the whole of the Amazon marketplace. Now, it's not that straightforward. I think a while ago I did an article about it. I can't quite remember. If I can find it, I'll add it into the contents in the blog or below the video. But so there are multiple ways that you can sell products to generate revenue. via dropshipping and Amazon and in person, a couple of those will improve the experience of your patients. And it also means generally your patient's not going to have to trawl around looking for these products. So selling physical products is one way you can diversify your practice. There's also clinical diversity. So start thinking about you've got to have space to do this. But you can start thinking about your dream patients and other areas of clinical practice that might serve them. And you see this all the time in multidisciplinary practices where you have a physio, an osteopath, a podiatrist maybe, dietitian, everybody sharing one roof, as it were. And that in itself, again, provides incredible opportunity for you to cross-refer patients and provide a seamless service to your patients who can come to one practice. They know where to park, they know the receptionist, they know the booking system, all of those things. But now they can buy other services through your practice if you have the capacity to provide that multidisciplinary treatment facilities. Brilliant. That's a great way of diversifying. Much as some of the farmers went from just running sheep to running sheep and some other livestock, more unusual livestock. We saw venison, we saw ostriches, we saw llamas. Llamas or what's the other one? Anyway, alpacas, that's the other one. Anyway, you get the idea. You can diversify clinically in your practice to generate new revenue streams, and it keeps all of that business under one roof because you can cross-refer rather than sending all of that business somewhere else to another practice. So that's another way that you can diversify in your practice. Couple of other ones that are slightly more unusual, but I'm starting to see come through are you can become an author. You can write books, you can write scholarly articles, you can write content for other people. I've seen a couple of instances where practitioners have become content creators. The world is crying out for good quality content. There's so much of it out there. It's very noisy. You need a really good quality content to stand out. And to do that in a healthcare setting, you need healthcare knowledge. And so if you enjoy creating videos or enjoy writing, there's an opportunity for you to diversify the revenue streams in your practice by becoming a content creator for other people or for yourself by writing books, writing articles that you can then sell. Now, the revenue you're going to generate from that is not massive, but let's talk about why we're doing this, because you need something else. So it might be personally you get so much out of writing a book or writing scholarly articles, doing research, that kind of stuff. So it is a means of diversification. It's not necessarily a means of diversifying where it's going to get you a huge new revenue stream, but it depends why you're doing this, okay? And then the last one I just want to talk about is about becoming an educator. For many, many years, this has been the model in hair salons. Many hair salons have delivered the services, but they've also offered an education stream to other hairdressers, barbers, training them in new techniques so that they can improve their own practice. And we're starting to see this now growing inside healthcare, people looking to become educators. You can provide education in your industry. So you can do that virtually. You can, like we do inside Practice Momentum, all our training is virtual pretty much, whereby you record videos, you create PDFs, you do a program that people can follow, and you can sell that as a package, if you like, as a product. So you can sell virtual training. You can do mentoring and coaching for people who want to improve their clinical skills. You can become a speaker, an event speaker. You can go to events and do speaking. Some of those are paid, some of those are not paid. But you can become an educator of people within your profession. So if you've got a specialist niche knowledge that you know other people are struggling with, this is your opportunity to broaden your work life and contribute to your profession or other professions that are doing similar things, and becoming an educator of other clinicians via virtual, face-to-face conferences, mentoring, individual one-to-one mentoring, running workshops. All of those kind of things are a really great way of you diversifying the work that you do and the revenue streams coming into your practice. The other thing that I just want to mention here when we're talking about becoming an educator is you can also become an educator of patients. So because of the internet now, you are now in a position to be a great source of accurate medical healthcare information for the general public. So if you have a subject that you're really passionate about, there is nothing stopping you starting to become an educator of the general public. You don't have to stick, when you talk about being an educator, you don't have to be an educator just in your industry. You can become an educator of the general public internationally. And we're definitely starting to see this now. There's a couple of people that I follow who are educators on nutrition, educators on menopause, educators on fitness. All those kind of people are becoming educated. They are healthcare professionals, but they're starting to produce products and services that educate the general public, not just their patient cohort. Now, if you create products, digital products like little training courses and things like that, absolutely you can sell those to your patients, but you can then sell them to anybody around the world. That is the joy of the internet and the joy of being able to add a store to your website. You can start to sell these things online. So those are just some ideas about how you can look at diversifying your practice in relation to getting more out of it personally and creating new revenue streams in the business. So think about physical products, different ways you can sell those. Think about clinically diversifying. Can you do that? Have you got the capacity and space to do that in your practice? Think about becoming an author and a content creator, and think about becoming an educator, both in your industry and in the whole wide world, educating human beings about elements of healthcare that you have got specialist knowledge of. Okay, that is all I really want to say on the subject about how you can do that. Let's just quickly talk about the pitfalls and the benefits of doing this diversification in your practice. So from a benefits perspective, we've already talked about the personal benefits that you're going to get from diversifying. It's going to give you a broader interest. It's going to give you more personal satisfaction or clinical satisfaction potentially. It's maybe going to scratch an itch that you've had for a long time around writing and creating, all of those things. So there is definite benefits to be had in diversifying from a personal perspective, not just from a business perspective. You're potentially going to increase the revenue coming into your practice because you'll say we're going to start to introduce some different and multiple revenue streams. We're not now just relying on people coming for appointments. So there's that. We can do that in terms of increasing our revenue. It's going to give you a more stable base because the more income streams you have, the more stable your business is. If you just have one income stream, and we saw this during COVID, when COVID hit and people had to close their practices or massively reduce the number of one-to-one face-to-face appointments they were doing, people's revenue and businesses became very rocky because they had one income stream. If you can have multiple income streams, then your business is going to be more stable. All right, that just goes without saying. So your business has this more stable base for it. The services that you offer your patients become more diverse, so your patients get a more rounded experience, a more wow experience, a more useful experience, a more convenient experience. The more of those different services you can offer, whether it is potentially more clinical, different diverse clinical services, or whether it's products, or whether it's education. Whatever you're offering, if it's all under one umbrella of your practice, your patients are going to definitely benefit from that. And as a consequence, your reputation as a practice is going to go up because you are absolutely going to be improving people's opinion of you and the practice and the service that you offer. Your patient outcomes could potentially get better because you're providing, you know that your patients are using the right products in the right way. You're educating them, so you're reducing the risk of things reoccurring. All of those things mean that your outcomes are going to improve, so the patient experience is improving, and so your reputation is absolutely going to grow. And on the back of that, you can then become this educator, this person who goes out and talks on stage and becomes a speaker, an author, all of those things. So it all kind of flows together So the benefits of looking at diversification in your practice are pretty big, okay, and wide ranging. The disadvantages, well, initially, this is absolutely going to take a lot more of your time. You're going to have to dedicate big chunks of time to developing these new elements in this business, especially if it's you doing the doing. If you can outsource it, not so much. It's going to be a drain on your finances initially, but it might not necessarily be a drain on your time if it's something you can outsource. But if it's something you personally are going to be doing, then it absolutely is going to be a drain on your time. Yes, there's money involved. So there is going to be some financial outlay. Writing a book is not free, okay? It takes time, it takes money to put a book together and launch it and sell it, okay? Yes, if you're going to sell the physical products in-house, you're going to have some outlay in order to pull that together. Yes, financially, if you're going to look at becoming an educator, you're going to need to create your own resources. That takes time and money as well. So there is an investment from you required for any of these, whether it's time, money, and also headspace that I know lots of practitioners are struggling with. When it comes to your marketing, this is where it gets very tricky. And I've had a couple of tricky conversations with practitioners who are looking to become educators. Because if you are looking to have one website and one lot of social media profiles and one Google business profile that serves the diversity of patients looking for clinical help, clinicians looking for personal development help and CPD help, those two are totally different. The language is different, the words are different, the subjects are different. And so creating marketing that supports those two very different enterprises is really difficult if you try to smush it all together in one place. And so your marketing can become confusing, your marketing can become diluted, and in doing that becomes less effective. So you do need to think very carefully about how you structure that marketing if you are looking to maintain a clinical presence and also start to become an educator or an author or something that's not related directly to treating patients. So really, really think about that. And when you've got if you're taking in stock and you're selling physical products in your space, you've got to store it. You've got to make sure you've got good stock rotation. You're going to have to market that stock really well so that it sells and it's not sitting on the shelf gathering dust, keeping money tied up in the business. And so these are all things that you need to start thinking about when you are looking to diversify your practice. It's not all roses. It is hard work. There are other things that you do need to think about and consider. But if you are thinking about scratching an itch of something that you've never quite got around to doing, or looking at generating some new income streams, or looking at doing something for some absolute personal gain, then absolutely start looking at it. Because with the digital world now, with the internet, with AI, with all kinds of digital platforms, this stuff is now doable way more easily than it ever was before. Okay, even outsourcing and finding people to help you do this stuff is much, much easier than it ever was before. So now more than ever is a great time to look at diversifying your practice if you feel the need. Financially or emotionally, you feel the need, now is the time. So if you have got any questions at all about that diversification, below the video, you will find a comments box. If you're in my blog, there's a comment section right down at the bottom. Leave me a question. I would love to catch up with you on social media. Come and find me, Practice Momentum. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, click the bell, all the things that mean more people get to see this content. So we're helping more practitioners understand a lot more about the world of marketing and business development. Okay, I'm done. Thank you for your time, and I will see you around wherever you are.